afternoon, we're back. We earlier made the leaven, and this is it. Like I explained this morning, that the mixture that we mixed up would only came to the top of the rubber band, but you can see how much it's risen, and it's more than half. And as you can see, it's full of air. It's had a really good rise. It's been at room temperature, left out on the bench, as you can see, with the lid ajar like that, so it can breathe. And we're going to use the whole lot of this leaven. Now, when I pour this in, you'll see the air bubbles through it. It's really, really stretchy, as you can see. And this will, you have to scrape this out because it won't just pour out, it sticks to the inside of the jar. It winds up roughly to be about 460 grams. You don't need to worry about measuring it. You're going to use the whole lot of whatever it makes. So, of course, the other thing you're going to need is flour. Now, this recipe that I use is different to the one in the book. The one in the book is really to get you simply started for your very first sourdough loaf. This is a little bit more advanced, but it's pretty fail-safe. And I will put the ingredients list and amounts in the comments on the video. Now at this point, the flour content is going to be 500 grams of flour. Now that can consist of a couple of different types of flour. You know, if you're going to cook a rye loaf, don't use all rye because it will wind up being very, very dense, and in fact to the point where it'll be so dense you'll kick it with your foot and nearly break your foot. So don't make it all with rye flour. To make a rye loaf, use maybe something like 100 grams of rye and the rest a baker's flour of some sort. The best you can afford, really. I mean, I'd use the stone ground stuff, and in fact I've run out of that today, so we're using just a plain baker's flour for this particular loaf. And I will use 100 grams of whole wheat flour as well. We quite like the flavour of that, so that's what we'll do. So that's what we're up to. So on the scales, we'll zero that. 100 grams of the whole wheat flour. That's it. So that's the whole wheat flour. Zero that again, and we'll put in 200 grams of baker's flour. Yeah, we need 400. Oh. Sorry, did I say 200?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the total is 500 grams all up. So just remember, we put in 100 grams of whole wheat flour. There's and 400 grams of plain flour. Now, I'm going to turn this around to me so that I can see it, because I need to be more accurate to this. The next component is salt. So 20 grams of salt. Again, the best salt you can afford. And the next thing, I'll just give that a quick mix so that the salt's not in just one particular spot. And we now need 280 grams of water. Now, it may 280 mils of water. Mils and grams weigh the same amount, so that's why. So you don't need to worry about measuring, weigh them, because they're more accurate. So 280 mils of water. You may, depending upon the type of flour you're using, if you're using all baker's white flour, you may need to add a little bit more. You'll know that as you mix. You don't want a really wet dough. So I'll Add this in. There it is, 280. Now, the baker's best friend. For mixing, you want to get yourself one of these. It's just simply a dough scraper. These are silicone, they're a dime a dozen on eBay. I find that they're the best because they're flexible and they're easy to use. They're light in the hand. Don't use a steel one. They're hard, they're not flexible, and they're difficult to use. So it's just simply a case of pulling this together and making a dough. And what we'll do is we'll pause our video here and we'll come back when the dough has been brought together. It will take about 6 minutes or so, and then we'll take you through the rest of it. Okay, so we're back, and as you can see, the dough has been pulled together. It's probably the hardest bit, but as I say, it only takes about 5 or 6 minutes. It's not really kneading, but it's just really pushing away with the dough scraper to incorporate it all. You're going to need a clean bench. You want to spray some water, just some plain water over the bench. Your hands. This is so that the dough doesn't stick. Don't use flour at this stage.
Cameraman?
Oh, sorry. And I'm just simply using the paddle, the scraper to get it out. Now, the first thing I do is spray the bowl liberally with a bit of water so that when I go to put it back in, I'm right to go. Hands again. Flatten the dough down a little bit. And now I just slip my hand underneath and I give it a shake and a pull away from the centre and fold it back in on itself like so. And this gets the glutens being stretched and working in the dough, which is really what you want. You want this to work nicely. Fold it back in like so. As you can see, it's coming away from our hands nicely, and just pop it back in. Now, I will stretch that in another hour, and I'll do it one more time, and then I will sit it there covered overnight, and first thing in the morning I will bake it. That's it. That's as much as this is. It's so easy, it's nearly a joke. So I'll let me go through that again. That first stretch, set the timer for 1 hour, give it exactly the same stretch, set another hour, so that's 3 stretches in total. Cover it in between the stretches as well, cover it overnight at room temperature, no need to put it in the fridge, and in the morning, I will record how I knock the dough together and pre-bake it. So catch you on the next one.